Hi, you're listening to The Comedian's Tea Party with Deaves. Fair warning, this podcast may contain adult content. It may not. I don't know. I never really have a plan. So let's listen on and find out. Hello and welcome to episode 44 of the Comedian's Tea Party with Deaves. And in this episode I am very excited to bring to you the wonderful Lloyd Langford. He is currently stuck. I say stuck, he's not really stuck. He's currently living in Australia. He got stuck out there because of coronavirus. He went out there for the festivals last year and ended up staying out there with his girlfriend, who is Australian, sort of due to travel one way or another. Just easier for him to stay there, and to be honest, it sounds like it's quite nice, so fair play. But he is 9 hours ahead. We had to do some sort of a logistical planning to get the timing right. And so, as such, we do make reference to, we tried to record a couple of days prior to when we recorded this, but he, like minutes before we were due to start recording, he had to rush his girlfriend to hospital. And we do make reference to that a couple of times. She's fine. She's absolutely fine. It's all good. But that is, yeah, that's what we're making reference to when we're talking about that. We talk about loads. We talk about hackers who potentially do Lloyd's admin, which would be quite handy, actually. If anyone wants to hack me and do all of my admin, that'd be great. Apply to gigs for me. That would really save me a lot of time. And there's someone that edits his Wikipedia page, which is brilliant. It's very funny. Some of the stuff that happens is great. And to be honest, if anyone wants to go onto his Wikipedia page and edit it to say something about this podcast, I wouldn't be against it. But probably also notify me that you've done it so that I can see it. Otherwise, I'll never know. We talk about Edvard Munch's Scream. Or The Scream? Scream? One of those. Talk about that painting for a little bit. And I mentioned that there's other paintings in the series. There's not. Well, I don't think it is. I don't know. But there's other ones with similarly thematic skies. So, like similar sort of styles of painting. And they look like they're in similar areas. There's one called Anxiety, one called Sick Mood at Sunset, and one called Melancholy. So they're all sort of, they're all quite melancholy, really. Or sort of a dark theme. So maybe they are of a series. Who knows? If someone knows, I'm sure someone knows. I'm sure a lot of people know, actually. But we're just two uneducated on art fellows. If anyone knows, get in touch. Let me know if they are supposed to be related or not. He also pointed out that there are various versions of the Scream, and that is correct. We're both right to various extents. We talked about cocktails. And I said that one of my favourite cocktails is a passion fruit martini. Not untrue, but I basically, my brain just completely blanked and I couldn't remember that Mai Tais or pina coladas exist. So I just say passion fruit martinis. It's fun. I like them, don't get me wrong. If someone makes me one, I will very much have it. And I may well choose it off of a cocktail menu. However, I'm probably going to have a pina colada because they're delicious. I will say there are points in it where Lloyd's mic, well, it's his internet really, it starts sort of going in and out and buzzing a little bit. It's just his internet, but I've sort of edited it where I can. It's not perfect, but I think it's pretty good, so hopefully that's okay by you. I'll throw the social links at the end, just for the sake of mentioning tea. We also talk about McIver's, which is a Melbourne-based tea company, and Taprobone tea, which sounds delightful. It sounds really delicious. I'd very much like to have some of that. And I will say again, we're not actually drinking it on this episode, but thank you very much to Good and Proper Tea Company, who sent me a load of tea to send out to guests and to try with them. I'm very much looking forward to having some of it. I've had some of it already, and that was delicious. So yeah, thanks to those guys. I'm very much looking forward to having more of it. But yeah, it's a great episode. I hope you enjoy it. I'll see you at the end. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm very good. We've just gone back into lockdown here.
Have
in
you?
Melbourne. Yes.
Oh, no. Like how recently? Like today or?
No, it was, I think it was midnight on Thursday.
Oh, Christ.
But I don't actually mind it because I quite like just sitting around the house reading and listening to music.
Yeah, it's not bad, is it? I was on furlough during our first lockdown here, and it was quite nice just to sit for a little while.
Indeed.
Yeah. How's your girlfriend, by the way?
Oh, she's fine.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
she's fine.
Good.
Yeah, it was just something we had to go and we were advised to go and check out, but it's all
Yeah,
good.
yeah. Like a second head. It happens.
Yeah, mutation.
Yeah. So, did you have many shows booked?
No, I just did the Melbourne International Comedy Festival, which amazingly sort of went ahead without any sort of hitches, really.
Yeah.
And so since that, I've been taking a bit of time off. But in terms of it happening, it's like the best possible time, really, because the big festival is just finished.
Yeah.
I'm saying selfishly for me, it's the best possible time because I haven't had to really cancel any work.
Yeah.
So.
Probably adversely affecting quite a few people, but for you, great.
Yeah.
Nice little break.
Well, comedians don't just think of themselves anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Yeah. No, I saw the video from the one that you just did. The is it up late with what's it called?
Oh, it would have been the gala maybe, or it could have been a comedy up late. I did film one of those, but I didn't know if it had been released yet or not.
Oh, it is whatever is on your website.
Ah, yeah, that would have been from a couple of years ago.
No, it's 2021.
Is it?
Yeah, I watched it the other night. Just to prove it, because I was going to bring this up. Oh, it's Melbourne International Comedy Festival.
Because I don't update my website anywhere near as frequently as I should do. So
yeah,
I don't think it's from this year unless I've been hacked and the hacker has done some of my much needed admin. Am I wearing a green shirt?
No, the one on your website is 2017. I see what's happened there. Is I clicked the next video on the thing because it's connected to your YouTube.
Ah, okay.
And I watched the one from the Melbourne International Comedy Festival is up, where you're talking about bamboo boxes.
Yeah. That's from the gala. They do. There's I think there's a couple of different galas here.
Yeah.
And that was for Oxfam.
Oh, okay.
And so yeah, they put that up. I think they put that up on TV and they put that up online, kind of pretty much straight away.
Nice.
But there's another thing I did, which is called Comedy Up Late, which is. I think it's recorded for Audible, so you just get like an audio version of it, and then they do film it, and they kind of release that as well at some point.
Oh yeah. I've watched a couple of the old ones of yours, just to catch up on, just in case you start talking about your material all of a sudden, which would be weird, but well within your rights to it if you want. But I was going to say, have you ever worn bamboo boxes?
I haven't,
because a friend of mine told me about them. Like sort of sometime during last lockdown, and he was just banging on about them, and he was saying how comfortable they were. And I, like you, had just imagined sort of solid boxers and thought it was ridiculous. And I got some, and they are very comfortable.
I feel like I should actually try them. Now
yeah,
that
it's worth
kind
it.
of disparaged them on television.
yeah. No, it's really it's just. I'm wearing bamboo socks at the minute, actually. And they're just they move differently to cotton.
Right.
Yeah, and it's like do you know the living bra from the IT Crowd?
No.
Yeah, Richard Ayoade's character creates a bra that is like scientifically keeps moving, so it's always comfortable. But it's like that, but sort of not. It's not going to set on fire.
Well, I make the joke about them using bamboo for scaffolding, and I think that is why it is used often as well, because it's got a kind of rigidity but also a flexibility.
Yeah.
We've got bamboo toilet paper here, and that's, I mean,
really,
it's comfortable.
Is it? Yeah, interesting.
It's not like a branch of wood.
Yeah, just like a bamboo stick. Shove it straight in. Pick the bits out. Sorry, that's disgusting. Nice. What else did I? Oh yeah, right. I don't normally. I can't normally Wikipedia a lot of my guests on this podcast, but I did have a quick look on Wikipedia out of interest, and it says you're both from Baglan, Neath, Port Talbot, and Bristol.
Yeah, so I don't know. Someone vandalizes my Wikipedia page frequently, and some of the things they put on there are that I was born in Bristol, that I used to be a blacksmith, that
Amazing.
I took part in the world's largest ever five-a-side tournament with 400 odd players.
Amazing.
That I do the voices on, I can't remember if it's Fireman Sam or Peppa Pig or something. And I frequently, in the middle of interviews, get asked about these things, and I just have to sort of say, it's all bollocks.
Yeah.
It's like someone messing about.
That's
I did
so
live
funny.
in Bristol for a while, and so I do have a slight connection to Bristol, but yeah. I wasn't born in Bristol.
That's really funny. What's your favourite lie that's been made up about you?
The blacksmith one is pretty funny.
Yeah, that's great.
I think as well, because like if you do interviews or like TV spots or something, they're always looking for like a hook to introduce you.
Ex-blacksmith.
I've been introduced as that before, and then had to sort of say, like, it isn't true. Like, I don't mind it. It's quite funny, but I have no smithing skills whatsoever.
Amazing. Should our paths ever cross at a gig, I could do everything I can to make sure that I reference you being a blacksmith.
That's the other thing that happens as well, though. It happened before where, so someone puts the lie on Wikipedia, it gets referenced in a newspaper article or something, and then the lie on Wikipedia then references the newspaper article. So I've done interviews before where I've said, it's not true.
Yeah.
And the Wikipedia page has then been amended, and then obviously the vandals then put it back up with the link to the newspaper article saying, look, the Daily Mail said it, so it must be true.
Oh, that's so funny. Do you have any idea who it is?
I have no idea who it is. And I think one time I tried to vandalize another comedian's Wikipedia page, and it's quite a laborious and kind of difficult process, because I think they're used to people just joining up to vandalize pages and stuff. So you have to get like verified and all that. And it became too much of a faff.
Yeah. I can't remember who it is. I had someone on here, maybe someone I know, who they got banned from editing stuff on Wikipedia. Which is great.
I guess there are people that it is their life's work.
Yeah.
Those people with like hundreds of thousands of edits, and I imagine, a bit of Wikipedia vandalism, which I find pretty funny, would absolutely infuriate them.
Yeah. That is funny. I love that blacksmith though. That's great. It's so sort of like it's not unbelievable.
No. That's the I think that's the key to a good lie.
Yeah.
You sort of get semi-plausible.
Yeah.
I was in school with a guy who was one of the most impressive bullshitters
Oh, really?
I'd ever met. And all of the stories were, they were completely unbelievable.
Yeah.
But he had such a conviction. And he would, if you asked him other questions, he would always give you more details. And I remember him telling me once he was the first person in the United Kingdom to watch the film The Jungle Book. And you think,
the one that came out in like the 50s.
How did this happen?
Yeah.
And he said that his grandparents had gone on holiday to America, where it was released first.
Right.
Had bought it on VHS, and I don't even think they had VHS I think it's a different system. Anyway, they brought it back to Wales, and they played it in the delivery room whilst his mother was giving birth to him.
That's amazing.
And it's it's one of those incredible like lies where you're just like, there's no way you can win me around to believing this, but also I am impressed.
Yeah.
How you've come up with this.
I love people like that where the best thing to do is just keep asking them more and more questions. Watch them dig that hole and then see if they remember it next time. That is incredible. I used to have a friend, we're not friends anymore, for various reasons, lies that he told, who was a compulsive liar. Like to the extent that he got police around his house once to catch a burglar that wasn't there.
Ooh.
Like, was never there. There was no evidence that he'd ever been there. Nothing was taken. He just got the police around because he knew a policeman, which is pretty impressive. But like, he used to tell sort of loads of different lies, and he had a cousin that died like 5 times, and but like his cousin did everything. If he didn't do it himself, like, because my mate was a professional snowboarder, which he wasn't. He couldn't even snowboard. What else? Like, he was like an expert guitarist, couldn't play guitar. It's incredible. But his cousin, because I have worked as a professional drummer in the past, I'm all right, you know. But his cousin was a professional drummer, and he wasn't. And he tried to tell me that I think he died twice at this point, so he definitely wasn't a professional drummer. He tried to tell me
the guy from Spinal Tap.
Yeah. But he started telling me about like some drum technique for sort of double pedal playing, and I was like, "That's not right. That's absolutely incorrect." And he was like, "No, my cousin told me." And I was like, "But he didn't, because I can do that, and that's not how it works." And he's like, "Oh yeah, no, it is." But he was so convinced it was correct. I once went to a barbecue at his house, and he had some chicken that he was going to put on the barbecue. And I said to him, "Have you put it in the oven first? Because obviously you've got to put it in the oven first so it's cooked through." And he said, "Yes." And I said, "But have you?" And he went, Yeah. I was like, Have you definitely? Because it'll make someone ill." And he's like, "Yeah, no, I have. I've put it in the oven." So we put it in the barbecue, cooked it, I bit into it, and it bled.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's the level of liar that he is. But, so, like, his lies escalated. He also once told me that he was an air traffic controller. Which is amazing, because he worked at people saw him walking into the airport because he lives right next to Southend Airport, and he'd always say like, "Oh yeah, I'm an air traffic controller." People would see him walking in there, be like, "Maybe it's true." He was a cleaner in the airport, which is pretty amazing. I imagine at some point he did try and land a plane, but and he said he was an ambulance driver, and he volunteered for St John's Ambulance, is what it actually was. Yeah, it's just incredible. But his biggest lie was that he told me he had a new job where it was his job to operate what he called a heligun, which is just a mounted minigun, but he called it a heligun. That's what it was called. And there were 2 cars on a truck at a time, and he had to protect them from thieves because each car was worth £5 million, which is absolutely incredible.
It's a sort of Mad Max, the Road Warrior kind of scenario.
It's exactly that, yeah, but involving the M5.
A slightly more inhospitable landscape.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. But that's one of my favourite lies. What would you say would be your favourite lie that you've ever been told?
There was a guy that used to drink in the local pub to my house who claimed he had the bottom half of the Mona Lisa. So, you know, the Mona Lisa is just sort of like, I guess from her sort of navel upwards.
Yeah.
He reckoned that he had the legs and everything, and like the painting had been sort of bisected. And I don't know
amazing.
how, but he ended up with the lower portions.
Yeah.
I think he said he had it in his garage and he was waiting for the right time to sell it.
Who's he going to sell it to? Who wants just the legs?
I guess he would go to the Louvre, you know, and I don't know, maybe go to the help desk and say,
"Excuse me, I've got the legs of Mona Lisa.
I can help you.
Give me some cash." You should have told him that you had her friends that were sitting next to her.
I like the idea of that though, that there are parts of paintings that exist but have been removed. So I guess like during the Last Supper, there's like a waiter or something.
Yeah.
Or like other diners.
Yeah. the waiter just looking sort of bored because everyone's about.
Yeah, like what is the guy in the Scream actually screaming at?
Yeah. Well, I was going to use that as an example, but there is another painting that joins up to that one.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, I think so. I might be bullshitting.
I think he did a few. That's a painting where there are multiple versions in existence, because I think he did various different goes at it.
Yeah, maybe it's that. That's the thing. Sometimes I say stuff that I don't necessarily. I'm not lying. I don't know. I don't know the full truth. I'm just saying something I've been told once. That's sort of the basis of
I think you are right in that there are other versions of the painting as well.
Yeah.
I mean, if you painted the Scream, then you'd probably think, yeah, I'll do a few more.
Yeah.
I'll get my money's worth out of it.
Yeah, people seem to like that one. I'll do an extension. So, like, what have you been up to during the lockdowns? So, how long have you been in? Oh, that's the other thing that I found from your Wikipedia, by the way, is that you currently live in London.
That was sort of true, because I was living in London and my girlfriend's Australian and lives in Melbourne, and we were sort of back and forth.
Right.
So 2020, I was supposed to come to Australia for about 6 months, do a few festivals, go over to New Zealand, do a festival, and then come back to the UK probably June or July and do the Fringe and everything.
Right, okay.
And then obviously coronavirus happened, and I've been here since. So yeah, ordinarily I'd sort of spend my time, I guess, between the two places, but it's just been it's difficult because I can leave Australia and go back to the UK.
Yeah.
I think because she's an Australian citizen, she cannot unless she has like a work visa,
right? Okay,
or a reason to travel. And then once I leave Australia, because I'm not a citizen, I'm not sure whether I'll be able to get back in.
I see. Right.
Because there is still Australian citizens, I think, that can't get over here because the flights are obviously very limited.
Yeah.
The airlines are making them prohibitively expensive.
Yeah.
So I think the cheapest return flight from London to Australia at the moment is about £5,000.
Wow. Bloody hell.
And they go up. It's going up to about 13,000.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's insane. Crikey. Yeah. Do you know Kelsey de Almeida?
I do, yes.
Yeah.
And I gigged with him. I gigged with him a couple of times in the last couple of months.
Yeah.
Once in Adelaide doing the Fringe there, and once in Melbourne.
Yeah, because he's in a similar situation, because he went to Australia last year for the festivals, and like his girlfriend's Australian as well. And then coronavirus happened, so he's just stayed there, and I think he just lives there now.
I think during coronavirus, the government here, I mean, they have a lot of faults, and I think the immigration policy is bad.
Yeah.
But the fact that they were so concerned about coronavirus, and the fact that I guess it's an island, meant that they shut everything down pretty quick.
Yeah.
And so, we've gone back into lockdown now because I think there were about 20 cases in Melbourne.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, that's pretty good, really.
Yeah, and I think prior to that, there hadn't been any for a few months.
Yeah.
So they take it very seriously, because I think in the UK at the moment there's still like thousands of cases a day.
Yeah. And I've just we've come out of lockdown, so yeah. I mean, not entirely, but pretty much we're getting there. Apologies if you can hear me chewing, by the way. So just realised that's
right.
It's probably picking it up. Potentially what's that fear? It's not a fear, is it? It's like the hatred of noises.
Is it misophonia?
Yes, misophonia. Yeah. Yes, and I have it, so I should know. I know that if I heard you eating that down the microphone, I'd probably have just sort of got close to being sick at least.
Oh, thanks.
No, it's not you. It's me.
I'm slurping my tea, so I don't know whether I should mute.
No, go ahead.
Sometimes
Sometimes it's quite nice for the podcast. Being a tea podcast, it's all right. I've started editing another podcast for someone else, and he had a guest on the other day who made loads of noises when he was talking. And like editing it back, I'm sitting there going, oh no, it's awful. Speaking of tea, what are you drinking?
We've just moved house, but we used to live very close to a tea shop called McIver's.
Nice.
And I think they're quite well known in Melbourne. They have a main store in the Victoria Market, and then they have another shop which is where we lived. And this is called Snake in the Grass.
Oh.
And it has spearmint, peppermint, licorice root, star anise, and red peppercorns of various origins.
That sounds amazing.
It's a very nice sort of minty tea. That's the bag there. Yeah, they do lots of different blends and sort of normal teas as well.
Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, I've because I get sent a few teas from sort of different companies, and I've just been sent some from I'm going to plug them because they've been very kind. The company is called Good and Proper Tea Company, and they've got a really cool story from like they started off as a woman who sort of made her own blends and sold tea from a little van that she sort of like did up. Yeah, selling it like at sort of festivals and stuff like that, little tea van. And it's turned into like a pop-up shop, and then they've got a sort of a proper shop, and then a full sort of premises, and yeah, it's cool. And they've sent me loads of stuff, so thanks to the Good and Proper Tea Company.
Nice one.
Yeah,
I had to pay for that.
Yeah, sucker. It's almost the only reason I started this podcast was to get free tea. What I was going to make one now, but while I was sort of getting ready, I was showering. Just for the listeners, I was showering. Oh, so why am I saying that like that? I was showering. Just before we recorded this, I was having a shower. So I was drying my hair, and my wife made me a tea. So I've not got a Good and Proper Tea one, but I have got a Smuggler's Brew, which is a West Country tea. You can only get it in Cornwall.
Ah, yeah, okay. It's what like I always imagined the pirates sort of drinking rum.
Yeah, it's actually rum. It's not tea at all. I've got a mojito. It's what it is.
One of my least favourite cocktails, a mojito.
Is it? Yeah, I don't mind it.
It's a real bastard to make.
Yeah, it's a lot of work for a drink that lasts the same length of time as a lot of other drinks. Whereas I quite like a vodka lime and soda, and that's very easy to make.
Yeah, I'd go vodka lime and soda any day over a mojito when you're having to gently stimulate the mint leaves.
Yeah,
you think fuck this.
Yeah. I worked in a cocktail bar for a while, so I sort of learnt to make them quite quickly. But nevertheless, it's
okay.
But then, like in the cocktail bar, I've got like a proper ice crusher and like proper tools and stuff. Whereas at home, I'm sort of I've got a hammer out on the ice to smash it up. It's not the same.
That's the other time-consuming thing, isn't it? It needs to be crushed ice in a mojito.
Yeah. Someone made me one once with sort of full-on ice cubes, and I was like, "Thanks, cool." It's horrible. Doesn't work. I said, "Oh, did you put sugar syrup in it or anything like that?" And they're like, "Oh no, I just put granulated sugar in there." So that's not the same.
Fuck. You've got this like sweet grit at the bottom of the glass.
Yeah, it doesn't mix in. Yeah.
So when you if you used to work in a cocktail bar, then what's your go-to cocktail
to drink?
Yeah.
I don't know. It used to be a Long Island iced tea.
Oh yeah, okay.
Which I really, really enjoy, but I'm not sure if that's what I'd still go for. Like I really enjoyed passion fruit martinis. Quite tasty.
Right.
Yeah. It got really poncy. But there was a version that we made with a nugget chili vodka that was
whoa.
Yeah, it had a hell of a kick to it. It was lovely.
I went out for a curry once with my brother, and he ordered a Naga chili curry.
Yeah.
And then the guy sort of took our orders, and he was sort of leaving the table, and I said to my brother, I think that the Naga chili is like a really hot one. You might want to like double check.
Yeah.
And so he called the waiter back and he said, "Oh, is that curry I've ordered really hot?" And the waiter just openly laughed in his face and just walked off. And then we started. I was saying, "Oh, there's always like the hottest chili always changes."
Yeah.
And there's always these men that try and eat them.
Yeah.
And there's an absolutely great Wikipedia page which has like a list of like hottest chilies and people that have tried to eat them. And there's one guy that like starts hallucinating.
That's
because
amazing.
It's that hot.
Jesus. Yeah, it's such a weird thing between men of saying, "Oh, I can eat a hotter thing than you." Okay, I don't really care. Like, people sort of go out for a curry, and people will be like, "Oh, you're not getting a vindaloo." Just like, no, I really want to enjoy my meal rather than sort of worrying about if I'm going to shit myself.
I went for a curry once with Rod Gilbert in Edinburgh. It's sort of at the top of the Royal Mile. There was like a bunch of us there.
Yeah.
And it was a good place, but the guy, I think he recognised Rod, and then he was like always at the table, and he was always like making jokes, and it was like a bit too, like a waiting staff are like too attentive.
Yeah.
And it becomes like a bit of a sort of, it's like sort of ruins the night because the guy was always there.
Yeah.
And he kept saying, when we were like ordering our food and stuff, he kept saying, "Oh, you've got to eat this like hot curry that we've got in the restaurant, and if you eat it, then everyone eats for free and stuff." And nobody really wanted to do it. And I was like, "Nah, mate, look, we just want to have a nice meal, and like we're not interested in this sort of competitive eating competition you're trying to push on us." And then he said, "Oh, I've got a photograph of the last guy that tried to do it." And then he went and pulled this framed photograph off the wall, and it was a guy outside the restaurant being carried into an ambulance by two paramedics. He thought it was brilliant. I was like, "What?" I was like, "What?
Is it an
how
advert?
do you think I'm going to try this now?"
Yeah. That's ridiculous. Yeah, a friend of mine owns a restaurant. Sort of, it's only down the road from me, but it's the only vegan barbecue restaurant in the country.
Oh, okay.
And like the food he makes is great. It's really, really nice. But he created a chili challenge, or like a hot wing challenge. That's what it was, where he wanted to make he wanted to make the hottest in the country, and he said he can't actually measure it, so he's not certain. But he's pretty sure. But it's not a challenge. A friend of mine tried to do it and was quite unwell. Like it was raining outside, so he just sort of went and stood outside to cool down and like, threw up in an alleyway.
I thought you meant where he just sort of stood outside and sort of opened his mouth, hoping that
he did for a moment, but then he looked like he was going to pass out and just disappeared, and his wife had to go and find him. And like the toilet was out the back of the restaurant, so he had to walk all the way round. And I went round there, and it's just sort of like he had his head in a puddle. It's like, "Are you all right, man?" Like,
no, that doesn't sound like fun.
No, it's not an enjoyable evening, is it? I quite like a mild curry.
I was in Thailand once, and we were in a restaurant, and they brought out food for a table, and there was so many chilies in it that I had to leave the restaurant. It was like sizzling, and they brought out these like plates of food, and all of a sudden like my eyes just all went red. I was like tears running down my face. I got really hot. You know when you get like if you eat a hot chili and you get like a sort of heat on the top of your scalp.
Yeah.
And obviously they thought they were locals. They thought it was the funniest thing they'd ever seen because the food had come absolutely nowhere near me. It was just in my vicinity. That's
funny. Oh, geez. I was in I think it's a Thai restaurant in London once with a few friends. And I don't think it was the presence of Mackenzie Crook, but Mackenzie Crook was there. Not with us, but he was on another table. And it was quite exciting. And a friend of mine had a little chili that he took out of his, like whatever the meal was. he had some kind of noodle dish. He had the same as me, but he had like a little chili in it. And he said, I tried one of those a minute ago and it was disgusting. And I was like, I've finished mine now. I'm pretty sure I've had one of those. I'll just eat that, as you do. At the time, I was still trying to impress people, trying to eat hot chilies and stuff. And
to impress Mackenzie Crook, who was on a different table.
Yeah, just in case he turned around and was like,
presence.
Yeah, yeah. Just in case he sort of said, "Oh, who's that guy? Let's be friendly with him." Hey, I'm writing a show. Do you want to be in it? Oh yeah.
Who's this steel-mouthed devil?
And instead, he must have thought, "Who's that sweaty man on the table over there?" It wasn't a good choice in the end. It didn't ruin the meal. I was okay, but it did feel like my mouth was on fire, and like my my nose was running, but the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's horrendous.
Your sinuses have just been put in reverse.
Yeah, just completely imploding. Yes, not a good choice. So what were you doing during the first lockdown? Were you like sort of doing just writing, or were you doing online gigs? Or
we had a couple of lockdowns here, and I think the first one wasn't as severe as our second one. The second one here was a few months, and there ended up being some kind of curfew as well, where you weren't allowed out of the house past 8 o'clock.
Oh man!
But the first one that I was doing a TV show in Australia, and you could do it from home, but they basically sent you like a miniature studio that you had to build in your own living room.
Right.
So I had a camera rig set up and a backdrop, and I had to do my own hair and makeup, which obviously was a disaster.
Wearing lipstick and stuff. Put the wrong makeup on.
Yeah, I had the contours. It was a bit much. But then I think they kind of realised we could go into the studio as long as we were sort of isolated. So rather than all be in the same room together, we were sort of all in separate rooms, and then it was weird. You were kind of on a TV show with people, but you never actually physically met them.
Oh, okay.
You were all in the same building. Yeah, it was kind of difficult for me and my girlfriend, because we were living in a 1-bedroom flat.
Yeah.
With no kind of outside space, and so it was sort of intense. But I'm one of these comedians that very much enjoys time off. And so during lockdowns, I used to, I was listening to loads of music, just buying music online, or I think, first of all, some of the shops were still open before it went serious.
Yeah.
And I really got into cooking, making curries, and just, there wasn't really anything to do.
Super hot ones.
No, I quite like hot food.
Yeah, to impress Mackenzie Crook.
She doesn't so much. So, no, when the recipe where it says use 1 to 4 chilies.
Yeah.
I would always just use 1, because I was like, if it was me, I might use 2 or 3, but like I would use the minimum allowed.
Yeah.
So when she complained and said, "Oh, this curry's too hot," I'd say, "Well, I'm just following the recipe.
Yeah.
I'm only following orders." Yeah, there was nothing to do apart from walk and kind of eat. So I kind of combined those by going for long walks to supermarkets and stuff, buying food, coming back, and just trying to make it.
Yeah.
I lost a lot of weight during lockdown because I was walking and cycling everywhere. Yeah. And I think because I was eating healthily, because everything was making all my own food. And I read some of the reason why like restaurant food tastes so good often is because the amount of butter and the amount of salt and the amount of stuff they put in it that you would never add that amount in your own house.
Yeah.
And I guess because they make stuff in bulk as well.
Yeah.
You just kind of I was just kind of making individual food. So yeah, I after lockdown, I was doing a show kind of outside of town, and I was walking down the street, and there were 2 pensioners kind of walking towards me, and the woman came up to me and she said, "Oh, how's it going?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm good." And she said, "You're nowhere near as fat as you used to be." Which is a sort of, I guess it's a more passive aggressive way of saying you've lost weight.
Yeah, what's cruel about that is that you've lost weight, but you're still fat. Is what she was saying.
Yeah,
that's really cruel. If it helps, I at no point ever thought you were fat from what I've seen on TV. So
I think I'd porked up a bit, and I think also, before lockdown, going out and you have a few beers or whatever, the calories in that.
Yes, yeah, that definitely.
But obviously, during lockdown, the sort of all-encompassing depression led me to drink whiskey, which has far fewer calories.
Yeah, it's good for you. Bit of depression.
The pounds just fell off.
I recommend it. Yeah. No, I mean, well, you've gone the opposite way to a lot of people. I am I still don't weigh much, but I'm the heaviest I've ever been. I'm still sub 11 stone, which is okay. I can deal with that.
No, I think you're fine.
Yeah. But I'm 5'1", so no, I'm not.
The Danny DeVito.
Yeah, just littling around. No, I'm 5'8", so it's fine. It's good. It's not bad. I've got some tea emergency questions.
Oh, cool.
But what would be your go-to tea?
I never used to drink any hot drinks at all.
Really?
And yeah, I started drinking coffee when I was in university, I think. And I never drank tea. Like, all of my family drink tea, with milk and sugar. And I don't know, it just never appealed to me. And then I went on holiday to Sri Lanka once, and we went to a tea plantation, and when they get you to try the teas and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is great. It's sort of like, I guess, growing up and people are just sort of like drinking like PG Tips or whatever and sort of drowning it with milk and
yeah.
I don't know. So now I very much like a apple tea.
Oh, okay. Nice. Twining sent me a digest tea, which is like apple and spearmint and rhubarb, and it's very nice.
I got into apple tea because I was doing I've had it before. You often get it in like Middle Eastern cafes and restaurants and stuff.
Right.
But I was doing a gig somewhere in Australia, and you get like free tea sometimes in the hotel room.
Yeah.
And it sort of varies in quality depending on where you are. I had one of these teas in the hotel room, and I was like, this is fucking great. And I researched the company and then bought the tea from them.
Oh,
it's
nice.
Called Tap Robin Teas. I think it's another Melbourne place. I bought the apple one, and they also do a mango one, but I haven't had that yet.
Oh, okay.
It's very good.
Yeah. Now, so do you ever have like a sort of a breakfast tea?
No, I wake up in the morning and I need coffee injected into my system as quickly as I can. So we have like a French press and get sort of various like local ground coffees. I'll have tea. I mean, this is something which probably isn't helping with my weight loss, but we had a lot of afternoon tea and cake.
Yeah.
Lockdown.
Yeah, it just what happens. It's an easy thing to get into. So you wouldn't be a biscuit dunker.
No, I don't. I'm very new to the world of hot drinks. I mean, I don't know if I have the. I don't know if I have the necessary skills. I don't think I've ever dunked a biscuit in a hot drink.
Oh, you are missing. Not even with a coffee. You get like a.
Sometimes you get like a little biscotti or something. With
yeah, that's the word. Yeah.
I wouldn't. I don't really see. You see Italians drinking coffee, and they don't strike me as dunkers. I think you've got to sort of sensually nibble on it at the end.
Yeah. Whereas I'm just sort of straight in. I don't like coffee anyway, so I've never had that joy. But I will dunk a biscuit in a tea occasionally, not always, because the thing is I like it, but it just changes the flavour of the tea, and I don't always want that.
What you really need, Si, is a partitioned mug.
Yeah. Yeah.
with a dunking side and a slurping side.
That's a great idea. It's genuinely. I got to look into that. Right. Nice. Right. Now I've got to ask, because this came up in the last episode that I did, because I did a gig once, and like my name is Deaves, and I was once introduced to stage as CD Abez, which is all kinds of wrong. Because obviously your name is fairly straightforward, but also you've got the double L of a Welshman. Have you ever had anyone mispronounce your name?
It's usually spelt wrongly, so it's usually LL or YD. I spell it LL or YD, but it can be often misspelled as LLY or D.
Okay.
I went for when you go for a tea or a coffee and they ask for your name,
yeah,
and then they write it on the cup. I think the worst that I've had is Lollyob.
That's a good one.
Which is, I think, being in Australia, this accent isn't very common.
Yeah.
And especially as well during lockdown with a mask on.
Yeah.
It makes it even more difficult. So yeah, I was like Lloyd. They were like, what? And then I was like Lloyd, and then they wrote, I think, Lollyob. I'm trying to find the exact spelling because I took a photo of it for my
amazing
Instagram, but I can't remember where it is. I'll try and find it. Sorry.
Yeah, that's funny.
I was just a bit tedious for you now while I'm just scrolling through photos.
No, it's fine. I like it. I like seeing the top part of your head. That's a new.
Oh, here we go. Lollib.
Lollib. LOLYB for the listeners. That is. I mean, you need to see that to believe it, because it's written confidently as well. Like if I was struggling to spell someone's name, I'd probably sort of turn it into a squiggle somewhere in the middle. That is that's confidently.
Lollib,
I've got
confidence.
This. Yeah, amazing.
If not accuracy.
To be fair, if I was a barista, I think I would make a sort of a habit out of trying to spell people's names as incorrectly as possible. Amazing. So yeah, you've never had any sort of like disasters being introduced to stage?
No, I think I get like, usually being Welsh, you get like stuff from the crowd,
right?
Sheep noises and
or
maybe from the other comics or the promoter backstage, depending on where you are. But no, I remember how James Acaster told me the first time he gigged with Paul Chowdhury. I think Chowdhury introduced him on stage as my main man, James Alabaster.
That's funny. Oh, nice.
I did once when I was in university. I was comparing a lot of the students' comedy nights, and
right.
I wasn't a professional comedian by any stretch. I was a student, and I was writing new jokes every week or 2 weeks, I think it was, for the comedy gig. Hosting, Avalon or Off the Curb would send comedians, and normally one of them would have to MC who didn't want to MC.
Yeah.
So when I was there and I was like, I'll MC, you can all just do a set.
Yeah.
Usually they were like really happy with it. And one time I was bringing on Simon Evans. He was headlining the gig, and I gave him this massive introduction and forgot his name. So I sort of built the crowd up to this kind of crescendo.
Yeah.
And then had to sort of awkwardly say, I can't remember his name, and get someone at the front handed me a flyer.
Oh, no.
For the show. And then I had to read it out. And he came on and just dealt with it so well, and he was like, oh, I think he made some joke where he was like, it's like when you're like really, really excited to be like, have it as a man to have sex with someone, and then it's over far quicker than you imagined it would be. And he was good. Like after the show, I was like, I was so sorry. I was like, and he was like, that's absolutely fine. I was in Auckland once doing the Classic there, which is a great comedy club, and a friend of mine Paul Douglas was comparing, and he did the same thing where he forgot the act's name.
Yeah.
But rather than admit it, like I did, he just sort of shouted out a sort of consentless version of what he thought the name would be. So he was like, "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the stage." And it completely worked because the crowd were clapping and cheering anyway. And I don't know if I don't even think the comic pulled him up on it.
Amazing.
He got away with it.
Yeah, I was saying in the last episode actually that is my go-to sort of thing. If I forget the person, especially if it's like an open mic night that you're emceeing, and there's sort of 20 people on, and just forget someone's name. So just get everyone clapping as loud as you possibly can, so they can't hear you anyway. And then you're pulling the microphone away from your mouth. They think you're excited, and it just seems like you got overexcited.
You forgot how to formulate words.
Yeah.
Eager to see them.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I've had it on, I think, one occasion where I used to introduce my guests for this podcast during the podcast, and I sort of gave up on that because I realised I was doing the introduction twice because I do an intro as well. But I went to say the person's name and just forgot. I was talking to him, I had it written down, and I was like, "Welcome everybody to."
I've got a very bad memory. I once introduced a girlfriend to someone and forgot her name.
Oh no!
I think, as well, if you're emceeing, it's fine if you're emceeing other comedians and you work with before. It's 3 or 4 people or whatever, and you can, it's easy. The tough thing is if you're emceeing a new act night or a competition or something, and then there's 10 or 11 people on, none of whom you've met before.
Yeah.
None of whom have names you recognise. So I just have to write them on the back of my hand.
Yeah. I find a good technique, and this is one to take away, is make sure if you can that you're with someone you know. So if you're introducing your wife to someone and there's someone whose name you've forgotten, just say to the person whose name you've forgotten, "Oh, have you met my wife?" And then they'll do the introduction. Smooth. And if they don't, they seem rude. And you're like, yeah, well, that's what they're like, isn't it? They're just a bastard. Let's not talk to them anymore. We don't like them. Right. Cool. That was a good question. I've only just written that one down. It's the first time I've asked it as a team urgency question. I like it. Led to some interesting... Now, they're not all about comedy and tea. I should say that.
That's fine.
Because I had a dream recently that caused me to wake up in the middle of the night, and I Googled, as a result of the things that happened in the dream, I had to Google what is the coldest that Julie Walters has ever been. Which is a weird thing because I woke up the next morning, I'd forgotten that I'd done it, and I just found it in my search history. I was like, what? Oh yeah, that's weird. What's the weirdest question you've ever asked as the result of a dream? That could also be what's the sort of the most that your mind has been changed?
I was gigging in New Zealand again. I was in Auckland, and I had often you have dreams, and you're somewhere and then you're somewhere else, and someone's your mum's there, but then it's not your mum, it's someone else, and they're difficult to keep track of. But I had a very normal dream when I was in Auckland, and the dream was that my ex-girlfriend's father had sent me an email telling me that he had lost weight. That was the entirety of the dream, and it was so realistic and lifelike that I woke up the next day and I opened up my emails looking for the email from him, and I couldn't find the email anywhere, and I was sort of confused, and I sort of realised I'd had an incredibly dull dream. But I texted her, or we were texting about something, and I said, I just had the weirdest dream but specifically about your father contacting me to tell me that he's lost a lot of weight. And she messaged me back and she said, "Oh, he has recently lost a lot of weight." So I don't know how that happened. I mean, it's a mad coincidence.
That's incredible.
She was like, "Yeah, he's just started doing some new exercising or something, and he's really shed the pounds." And I was like, "Well, you know, some people get like visions of winning lottery numbers, and I just know that my ex's dad isn't as porky as he used to be."
Oh, that's amazing. That's really funny. Oh, that is that is dull but amazing. What an incredible! I love stuff like that. That's so good. Why do our minds do things like that? Just like, oh yeah, so and so's got a new set of keys. Amazing. Cool. Right. I think I'll ask one more. So, leading on from another conversation that I once had on this, there was someone who was talking about a TV show where they were watching a woman dance with a dog. Which is one of those things, isn't it? Like, it just sort of happens. Like, people dance with dogs for some reason. That's now a talent. Apparently, it's not. If you had to dance with any animal, what would it be?
Oh, that is a question I've never been asked before.
Yeah.
And I like it.
You're welcome to take that to other conversations if you want.
Thank you. I think I would dance with a python.
Okay.
Because I have very little natural rhythm.
Yeah.
And I think trying to sort of choreograph myself with a goat or something else would be an absolute nightmare. Yeah. Because I think if I had the python sort of seductively wrapped around myself, then whatever I was doing, the python would have to sort of go with it.
Yeah.
And I guess the python would be moving a little bit as well. I'm thinking of the scene with Salma Hayek in From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah.
But obviously 100 times more powerfully erotic.
Obviously. Yeah, that is I mean that much was clear. You didn't have to point that out.
And like there are certain very sensual dances where you have to be very close to your partner, and I cannot imagine being closer to an animal than an animal that is slowly trying to kill me by suffocation.
Yeah. And then would that lead to some kind of autoerotic asphyxiation? No, that's when you do it yourself, I think.
That's if I do it myself, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess
just erotic asphyxiation.
if I've got a python around my neck and I'm not taking it off, then I've really only got myself to blame. But I would hope it would be sort of, coiled around my body rather than like. I think just around the throat, you're in trouble. I'm not going to be dancing for long. Yeah,
you're asking for trouble there. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, take it for a lovely sensual tango. Good.
What was your choice?
I don't know. No one's asked me that. Have they? I think possibly a sloth.
A sloth?
Yeah. They're just sort of, they grip on, like there's no chance of dropping them.
Yeah. You're going to have to lead.
It'd just be like a nice cuddle, I think, would be. It's like a slow dance, isn't it? It'd just have a nice cuddle with a sloth. I think that'd be lovely. Yeah.
We've both chosen animals that we are having to do the dancing with.
Yes, yeah, both with. I mean, I'm a drummer, but I don't have the greatest rhythm when it comes to dancing. So, in fact, I've got no rhythm at all when it comes to dancing. I'm a good drummer. I stay in time very well, but dancing, not so much. I look like I'm in pain. So, yeah.
And I can only imagine a sloth would not help with that look.
No. Well, the thing is, they've got big claws, so they can hold on. But also, their big claws, I imagine it'd hurt.
Yeah.
Sort of digging them into your back. Again, slightly sexy, I think. So.
You're a bit of a sort of S&M vibe when you meet someone the next day and you're covered in scratches and they're like, "What did you get up to last night?" And you say, "Oh,
yeah,
I slow dance with a sloth."
Yeah. That sounds like a sex move, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What's your favourite sex? Slow dance with a sloth. Yeah. Next, you should try a quick step with a emu. I don't know.
You wanna have a quick step with a emu? I think they've
got very quick step.
They're vicious, aren't they?
They are vicious. Yeah. Is it those that have got like poisonous toes? So if they kill you, you die.
If they kill you, you die.
If they kick you, sorry. If they kick you, you die. If they kill you, you're definitely dead. That is.
I don't know if it was emus or ostriches, but when he was at the sort of bottom rung of his career, Johnny Cash, the famous country and western singer, started farming ostriches, and one of them kicked him in the stomach and partially disemboweled him.
Oh, Jesus.
And I think then he went back. I think he went back to the country music after that.
Yeah. That is that's not a backward step, is it? That's very much a get back on track kind of step. Amazing. Good knowledge. Right, there is a second part to that question. If you did have to do an activity with a dog, what would it be?
A dog?
Yeah. Like, for instance, mine is golf. I think I'd like to play golf with a dog.
I very much enjoy seeing dogs swim.
Yeah.
They love it.
They do, yeah.
And so maybe some kind of relay race.
Okay. Nice. But between dogs or between you and the dog?
No, like me and the dog would be on the team. It would be like mixed, you get like mixed relays, but this would be mixed species.
Yeah, I like it.
So I would do a length and then tap the dog when I come back, and then he would or she would jump in, and I probably need like a trainer or something the other end of the pool, with a toy to kind of coax the dog to swim. But
yeah, a dog whistle. That's probably
a dog whistle. Yeah, would be would be perfect.
Now, I would say that you'd never see a dog happier than when they're swimming. Possibly with the exception of with a dog with its head out the window of a car.
Yeah.
Is there a way of combining those two? Like a pool in a car where it can have its head out the window but also swim. That'd be
maybe
pure
a dog
ecstasy
with a pedal.
Yeah. There it is. Yeah. Shaped like a swan. Yeah, I think that'd be an incredible sight.
I went to visit my friend in Buenos Aires. We went on holiday to Argentina, and we visited a place called Tigre, which is all these little islands in a kind of river delta. And I think there used to be tigers there, but there aren't anymore. That's why it's called Tigre. And you would hire like a little kind of cabin or a little house on your own kind of separate island.
Yeah.
And then there would be like a boat that would come by every day, and you could buy food and you could buy meat. You could buy beer and drinks and stuff. And we were just on holiday and kind of barbecuing and having the time of our lives. But one of the things with the island was there was a dog on the island that we had to look after.
Amazing.
Called Severo, who is absolutely insane. And we had like fishing rods and we had kayaks as well. Like if you wanted to go, you could take the boat, and go and kayak to a different shop or something if you missed the the boat grocer come past. And we took out the kayak, and Severo, who's insane, just chased after us and swam behind us for so long, and then we had to try and lift him up into the kayak. We went to the shop. He jumps out of the kayak and then just basically goes and sniffs loads of other dogs' butts.
Amazing.
And then we buy the food, and then he jumps back in the kayak, and then we took him back home.
That sounds great.
It's genuinely the best dog I've ever met.
Yeah.
He had a real joie de vivre. Was essentially like an orphan dog living on an island that relied on the kindness of strangers that were hiring the cabin on his island.
Yeah. That sounds lovely. Did the dog belong to the owners of the?
I think the dog belonged to the owners of the cabin, and there were nearby islands, I guess, he could swim to if like no one was hiring the cabin, and I'm sure someone would have fed him.
Yeah, that's great.
But it was just like we'd take the Kai out to go to the shop, and he was just like jump in the water and just be like manically paddling behind us until I was like, he could have a heart attack, and then was like, we're gonna have to try and get him in a kayak because he would have just burnt himself out.
Yeah, just sunk. You don't want that. That's
yeah.
Oh dear. I was going to say, there's a very sombre way of ending the podcast with dogs sinking.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a great like Airbnb review, is it? It's like, oh yeah, they looked after our place, okay, but they did drown our dog.
Yeah, but
2 stars.
Up until that point, he was having a great time. If only his pedalo hadn't previously been stolen. Nice. Cool. Right, we probably should wrap up. I mean, thanks very much for coming on, man. It's been really lovely chatting.
Thanks for having me, and I'm sorry about Thursday.
No, that's okay. Yeah, you got to look after your health is the most important thing. I mean, if your girlfriend had died as a result of you coming on my podcast, I would have felt awful.
Yeah, I would have felt really bad.
I would have lost sleep for at least a couple of days. No, I'm glad she's good. I'm glad she's all right. And I'm glad you're well also. So are you planning to come back to England at some point?
Yeah, we're hoping to come back. My family was supposed to come over here at some point, and at the moment I'm still awaiting like a partnership visa, which will make it easier for me to leave Australia and come back again. But yeah, she can't come back, so if it's too risky for me to come home at the moment because I don't know when I'll be able to get back here.
Yeah. Crumbs. So how long have you been there? I asked you that already, I think, but I can't remember.
February 2020. So
right.
Coming up to like a year and a half, I guess.
Christ. Yeah. I mean, do you plan to sort of stay there in the future, or?
I like to spend time between the two places, but I mean, there's work. I mean, there's probably less gigs here ordinarily than in the UK. But I can work here, I can perform, and also like writing work that I normally do in the UK, I can do from here.
Yeah.
And there's been less gigs here normally, but I think over the past 12 months, like I just did the comedy festival, and this year I've been to I did Sydney Opera House in February, which is kind of mad to think like. Gigs and stuff were happening sort of normal, but I mean there's like at the moment now we're in a 7-day lockdown. I think that's going to be the normality for a while, just snap lockdowns and stuff. But yeah.
Well, hopefully it doesn't. Like, what's the vaccination scenario like over there?
Oh well, people are refusing to get vaccinated.
Yeah,
because we haven't had as widespread. COVID hasn't been as disastrous.
Yes.
So, I think it's a third of people here saying they aren't going to get vaccinated.
Is it really?
I think a few more of these lockdowns, and I think people might start seeing sense.
Yeah.
At the moment, I think in Australia, in general, they're only vaccinating like people over 50 and above.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
We're way behind the UK vaccination rate.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 35 and I've had my first jab, so.
Yeah, I mean, if I was in the UK, I would have it. So when it's available for me to have here, I will have it.
Yeah, my wife showed me a post this morning from someone she follows on Instagram had copied and pasted like a thing that they'd seen from an Australian business, an Australian masseuse, saying that they refuse to massage anyone who's had the vaccination in case like they leech the vaccination off of them and get whatever the vaccine. What? How fucking stupid! I mean, to be fair, I think the resulting post was saying like I wouldn't want to be massaged by anyone that stupid. Anyway, so yeah, that's insane.
It's normally the hairdressers.
Yeah,
they're normally the ones that are really putting their foot down with those kind of proclamations.
Yeah, it's a bold statement for sure. Yeah, incredible. Cool. Well, have you got anything you want to plug?
Nothing.
Good. What's your what are your social details? Where can people follow you?
I am on Instagram. I think that's about it. It's Lloyd Langford 1.
Cool. You weren't the first one to get there.
I am very uncomfortable with social media, and I've never had any real social media. When I came to Australia, I had to get Facebook to book gigs in, because a lot of gigs here were booked over Facebook.
Right.
And then and my girlfriend made me get Instagram.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of, I don't mind it. I'm kind of reluctantly on there. It's kind of fine.
Yeah. It's the better platform, I think. Anyway, Instagram. It's nice.
Yeah, and you can kind of, I sporadically put stuff on there, but it's not something I feel like I have to do every day.
Yeah. That's I sometimes get that. I sort of get jealous of other people because they're posting all the time, and I think, I need to start doing that. And then I'm quite busy. I don't really have time for it. So
I don't know. You can see there's like it could be a dangerous creature. There is.
It looks kind of like a weird ladybird.
Yeah, it's like a black and yellow ladybird on the microphone. So I'll Google
it immediately.
And check with Anne what that is.
Black and yellow. That's not what that looks like. Maybe sort of. It says you've got 3 hours to live. No. No, I don't know what that bug is. That it looks like a ladybird, but I'm not sure it is, because the ladybirds have got slightly different markings, apparently.
Oh, I think it's a fungus-eating ladybird.
Yeah, that's what I've seen there, actually. So yeah, it could be that. My wife's just told me to text my friend James Cranfield, who I've had on a podcast. He's a taxidermist, and he likes insects. What's the name for that?
Entomologist.
Entomologist, yes. Yeah. Yeah, he loves it.
Well, this animal would be very, very easy to stuff.
Yeah, it would not take long. Yeah. Sorry, he's not a taxidermist, he's a taxidermy dealer. I should. He does do some taxidermy. He does set insects. That's what they call it, setting them. So yeah, good. I mean, if you want to take a photo and and I'll text it to my friend and say, "What's this?"
I'll take your photo in a bit.
Yeah. It's not important. Yeah, I suppose I just thought to myself, I suppose Australia probably is the best place to be if you want to have a sensual dance with a snake. There's plenty around.
Yeah, the snakes here, you don't really want to dance with them. I think there's 21 of 25 of the most poisonous snakes in the world. 21 of them are in Australia.
Bloody hell. Do you see many?
I've seen them. I've seen a few. I went to like a national park and saw some, like in a big pile of them just off a trail, and it's pretty scary.
Yeah,
there are signs here. Like we went for a walk yesterday, and there's signs like "Beware of snakes." I really like snakes, and so I'm probably the wrong person for this country, because when I was a kid, I went to the zoo and I wanted to hold the snakes and stuff, and that would very quickly get me killed.
Yes. Yeah, not recommended. Yeah, the snakes are quite nice. I used to, because my mum hates them. My mum's terrified of snakes, and I don't think she's ever encountered one, so I'm not sure why she's scared of them, but there you go. But a couple of my friends had some, and one of them got me to hold one once, and it is lovely.
Yes, people think it's going to be all wet and slimy, but it's sort of warm and smooth.
Yeah, but it's being able to feel like every muscle move as they sort of move around. It's incredible. It's very sensual. Nice. Well, I think that is a lovely place to end. I need to go for a wee, so which is where most of these podcasts end these days. Is I announce I need a wee, and that's pretty much it.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So thanks so much for coming on, man. If you're when you're back in this country, I'd love to record another one in person.
For sure.
Yeah, that would be lovely. But yeah, no, thanks so much for coming on, man. Appreciate you finding time to do it. Because obviously,
thank you, Si.
Yeah, I've not mentioned it so far, but well, not in sort of certain terms. Obviously, you currently live in Australia. We've talked about it. I don't know why I'm saying I've not mentioned it. I'll mention it in the intro. People will know. But you're 9 hours ahead, aren't you?
Yeah. So I'm gonna go and get some dinner now.
Yeah. What is it, like 8:30?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, go and eat dinner for sure. I'll go for a wee, and then we're gonna eat lunch. Not at the same time. Right. I think I've started getting weird, so it's important that we end. Well, thanks for coming on, man. It's been really, really lovely chatting, and hopefully I'll see you soon.
Thank you, Si.
Thanks, mate. See you later.
Bye.
Bye. So that was Lloyd Langford. He is brilliant value indeed. Very, very enjoyable guest. Lovely guy. Really nice to get to chat to him. We never did confirm what the bug was, so hopefully Lloyd's still with us. I did speak to him after, so I don't think the bug killed him, but we never will know. Probably the thing that he said it was. Don't know. So you can find Lloyd on Instagram. He is at Lloyd Langford 1. That's the number 1. And you can find him on Facebook at Lloyd Langford Comedy. I'll put a link to all of that in the podcast description as ever. Don't forget, if you're heading over to the social media stuff, get over to the podcast ones at Tea Party Pod on everything. That is the letter T, Party Pod. Don't forget, if you want to get in touch, just say hello, teapartypod@gmail.com. If you've got any answers to anything that we're talking about, same deal. If you enjoyed the podcast and you want to show your support but you don't know how, head over to kofi.com/Deaves and then send a little donation, because all of that money the listeners are sending in goes back into the podcast and helps me buy new equipment and that sort of thing. I need to buy some new XLRs, for instance. That'd be nice if someone wants to pay for those. They're not expensive, but send us some coin if you're enjoying it, much as you'd pay for other entertainment. You don't have to. Obviously, if you can't afford it, please just keep listening. I appreciate the listens. I hope you enjoy it. Tell your friends, share the posts, that sort of thing. I appreciate it. It's real kind. I've already got another episode in the bag with Harris Dakini. He was great. And I'm recording tomorrow, bringing this out on the Monday instead of the Sunday. Should have been Monday, but I've been very busy. I've had some gigs. I've had some real gigs. It's been lovely. But yeah, recording tomorrow with Darren Harriott, which I'm very excited about. He is amazing. So yeah, very cool guest to get on. Now I've got several other cool guests lined up. Thanks for listening. I really appreciate it. I'll see you next time in a week, probably on Sunday. Hopefully on Sunday. That's when I try to release them. To be honest, I don't think anyone's noticed what day they come out really, so they just get downloaded on the day that they're released. So thanks for downloading them. Thanks for enjoying them. Thanks for telling all your friends and subscribing and sending 5-star reviews on iTunes and that sort of thing. That's real cool. Really appreciate it. So until the next time, be good to each other. Drink some tea. I love you. Goodbye.